G'day friends, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're doing a road test of the Ricoh Theta Z1. I've had this little 360 camera for quite some time, but I've been waiting for the right opportunity to do a review and a road test. So if you want to take a look at what it looks like straight out of the camera, well then stick around. Now today we're in Singapore in a place called Gardens by the Bay. I've done a previous review of the Canon M50 while I was here last time, and it was done in nighttime just to capture the beautiful light shows that this place has to offer. But today we're going to take the advantage of reviewing the Z1 using obviously natural lighting, and we're going to talk about some of the benefits that this camera brings. It is let's say a prosumer 360 camera that's been the last in the evolution of the Ricoh Theta line. Now, I've been lucky enough to own the previous versions, and so far so good, especially from a photography perspective. I'm really happy about what the camera has to offer. There are so many iconic things to see here now. Singapore is becoming a very advanced city, especially when it comes to tourism. Behind me you can see the Marina Bay Resort, which has that beautiful casino and pool right at the top. So right behind me. To my left, you may not be able to see it right now, but we've got the Singapore Eye. Now the Singapore Eye, obviously a very large Ferris wheel, very similar to the one that's in London, and once again another great vantage point to actually see the sights of this beautiful city. Now the biggest difference between this camera and its predecessors is that the actual body itself has been redesigned to take into consideration all the features that it had previously and then some. So the biggest feature obviously is the lens sizes. It has two 1-inch sensors that capture, I guess, more light. So in low light, this particular camera has been improved. We also have so many positives because of the change in lenses. Obviously the low light is one thing, but then we also have the ability to capture this crisper and sharper images. The color is a lot better, and what I've been finding from a photography perspective, the camera just behaves a lot better than the previous ones. Now this camera is a little bit bulkier and bigger, I guess thicker than the previous models were, but it does include some features that the previous one, which was the Theta V, did not have. This one has the microphone set in different sides of the camera to capture the surround sound while you're capturing your images. Before, it was a separate, let's say, add-on which was made by Audio-Technica that would allow you to capture that sound, but now it's built into the camera, which is pretty good. The redesign has also helped us get rid of that red dot, which was always present everywhere. So every time that the light used to capture the lens, you'd find a red dot somewhere in the image, and that has been, I guess, fixed with this new redesign. So I'm pretty happy with some of the results from a video perspective as well. The other positive inclusion with this camera is that they finally put a display that shows you some basic settings of the camera. So you have the ability now to check your battery life, to see which mode that you're actually shooting in, as well as you know, how much record time is left. So it's a really helpful addition to the previous models, which I thought should have been there from day one, but it makes it so much easier to actually handle the camera. Before, all the modifications had to be done on the app, on the companion app that was you know, included as a download. But now, thankfully, you can pull out the camera, turn it on, and make some quick setting changes without having to pull your phone out. So, you know, I'm really happy that they finally included that display. Now the boot up time is a little bit slower than the previous cameras. It probably takes about 30 seconds to a minute for it to fully boot up and you capture images. So it's a little bit slower than the previous models, but you can understand this is a much more powerful camera capturing images of higher quality. So I'm not surprised that it's actually working a lot harder than the previous cameras. Now, one of the things that has also changed is the fact that now it has a USB-C port that is of multiple use. Like the original camera had a micro USB and a micro HDMI port. But now it's all been consolidated into one. So you can charge the camera, you can transfer images, and you can actually even output from USB-C to HDMI. No extra adapters needed, which is really welcomed to have this all-in-one compact camera. Because of its large sensors and the 4K quality that is capturing, it's really easy to turn this video into a 2D video and just sort of display it in 1080p, and you get reasonably good quality videos. And at the same time, you can capture snapshots. So if I wanted to get a picture of this, let's call it pagoda, then obviously it's very easy to rip that image out and use it for other reasons. So it's great because I'm not changing camera to camera to get different perspectives. So I'm really very happy with its versatility. Unlike some of its competitors, the Ricoh Theta Z1 still lacks the in-body image stabilization that some of the other cameras have today. This would not be and should not be considered an action cam by any stretch of the imagination. I think what it's really meant to do is capture easily 360-degree images and videos without really having to do too much trouble in post. Now, the camera itself, or the software in the camera, allows you to set the horizon correctly, so it doesn't matter how I actually turn the camera, it should always stay upright, which is a really helpful feature. But if I'm going to move around quickly, obviously I'm going to get the jitters that the lack of image stabilization is missing. So hopefully it's not too shaky, not making you too sick. But as you can see, we're underneath these magical trees that have been created here. Obviously the light show in the evening is quite amazing, how all these trees light up. Now originally I thought that it was such a waste of electricity, and the carbon footprint for these electronic trees was really high, but I found out that they're ecologically friendly. They actually have a lot of light sensors or solar panels that actually capture the sunlight, store it, and then that's the power that's used to light these behemoths that one day will be totally covered in vines. So another feature in which its competition leads is its software. Now, the Theta has a reasonably good app that can be used as a remote, that you can download the pictures and instantly share them on social media. With the video being such high quality, it takes a lot of time to actually sync the device. It does have 5 gigahertz in the Wi-Fi spectrum, but it also syncs using Bluetooth. So that's been improved as the new generations have come out. So transfer of a 1 gig file, for example, is a lot faster than it used to be in the previous versions of the camera. So you can reasonably share videos straight to your mobile device and then onto the internet. But for large videos like this one, I will have to copy the files onto my computer in order to edit them and share them. Now for $8 you can actually go up to the Skyway, which is pretty good. Gives you a different vantage point of the gardens. So let's see how that works out. Once the camera is actually turned on, it does go into sleep mode. So it doesn't have to go through that full reboot once it's in sleep mode. So it's only a second or two and it's back up and running, and you can actually, get back to filming again.
Right, just hold on for a minute.
Okay, here we go. So from a price perspective, this thing sells for about $1,000 US, which is pretty expensive. But I must admit, it is a engineered device that it's at the top of its game as far as Ricoh Theta's development. It's quite amazing how the actual plants are making their way up all the way from the base. Before you know it, it'll all be covered up in foliage, which is going to be very pretty. So from a battery perspective, the Theta, has different lives, or battery life, depending on what you use it for. Obviously, shooting photos will save a lot of battery, but if you are shooting 4K video, it's recommended that you're going to get about 60 minutes worth of shooting. Great thing about it is the timer shows you exactly how much battery life you got left, and being USB-C, you can charge it on the go, so it's really handy if you have like a portable battery. Just plug it in and you'll be back on your way again. The only downfall is that it still does not have an external memory option. It has 19 gigabytes of memory, and once it's full, well, it's full, and unfortunately there's not much else you could do about that. Thank you. Now that was pretty cool. So yeah, so what are the uses for this device? Obviously, if you are traveling and you can't take around all your photography kit, it's a great camera just to have handy. So obviously it does have its limitations, so I personally use it when I just don't want to take my camera gear with me. You can't take extra batteries for this. It has a limited size, so you can't change the SD card. But I'm hoping that the quality of this video makes up for that, because I can quickly and easily capture video and talk and have at least an experience from where I am without having to take or lug around a great deal of equipment. So one of the things that is definitely missing from this device is the microphone jack. Now, the previous version had a microphone jack in its base, and I was able to plug in a little lav mic, and on days like this when it was a little bit windy, at least I could do something about that. But unfortunately that's disappeared from the camera, obviously not taking into consideration the usage like that. They're considering that people are going to just use the internal mics, and unfortunately sometimes it has its downsides. So in summary, the Ricoh Theta V has improved imaging with its two 1-inch sensors, capturing a lot of light, which is so much better in low light than it was before. The built-in sound, or let's say quadraphonic sound, that you can actually capture all round, that's straight inbuilt in the machine. They finally got rid of that red dot, which was an annoying problem at best of times. So obviously it's got its great advantages, and just from a quality perspective, I'm pretty happy. The downsides, well, get the microphone jack disappearing is probably a little bit painful, and I do regret that they took that away. And also the fact that it is a little bit heavier and a little bit bulkier. But let's hope that the quality that you're seeing through this device right now makes up for you know, all its nuances. So let's see. So you give me write a comment below and let me know whether you're actually liking what you're seeing as far as a road test is concerned. So that's it. I'm gonna go and see if I can find something to eat, and then I have to pack up and get on a plane and go home, and I can't wait to see the family. It's been a very busy week for me here in Singapore, but once again, like all the time, the hospitality here is great. People are very friendly, and if you've never been to Singapore before, I suggest that you check it out if you ever get the chance. It's a pretty neat place. And there you have it, friends, my road test and quick review of the Ricoh Theta Z1. If you're looking for a 360 camera that captures high quality image, especially in the photography side of things, I think you will not be disappointed with this camera. Obviously, it cannot be used as an action cam. It's definitely too expensive, and you know, obviously doesn't have the same features that the competitors have. But like I said, if you're looking for something that you can carry that's quick and easy, that'll give you reasonable battery life, and it will actually also capture some beautiful surround sound, minus the wind hopefully, I do recommend that you look into this one. But if you're looking for something more in the action camera range, maybe you shouldn't get this one. So that's it. That's the review and road test. I hope that you got something out of it and you got to see a little bit of Singapore with me. And if you liked the video, give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And until the next time, ciao for now.